Class of people, I want to submit today that they are generous. If you want to stand out and be recognized, be generous. Generous in so many ways. Generous with information. Generous with a gesture. Generous with your energy. Generous with your resources. With your wisdom. Whatever it is. Classy people, people who stand out, don't hold stuff to themselves. They share what they have. They realize that what has been given to them is not an entitlement. Sometimes we live like we work so hard to earn what we have. To some extent, we do. But is it not also sometimes sheer luck or favor if you're a spiritual person? That there are many people who'd want to be in a position that you are, but they are not. It could be because of your parents, because of your geography, because of your history, or by chance. And therefore, if you want to stand out and be a classy person, be generous. I've said about information. Is there something you know that could help your brother or your sister? What good does it do to you to hold information that you know that can help your brother or your sister for that matter? Do you know what stands out? Is when you make a difference in someone else's life. When people look back and say, were it not for this person, I would not have adjusted. I would not have known this or the other. People are about networking, and you could be that dot that is needed to make somebody's life better or even improve. You know what makes you a classy person? Somebody of repute, somebody of good standing, somebody who look back in their lives and say, I'm glad I did this. It's when you become generous with the information. Generous also with patience. There's many people who are so mean with their patience. The others who are very generous. They'll give you first chance, second chance, even third chance. Because they're tolerant. They practice patience. Imagine some people in your life if they were not patient with you. Your parents, your teachers, your mentors. There's somebody who was fed up by your mediocrity. There's somebody who was almost getting tired of you, almost giving up. But he was full of grace, was generous with the patience. What if somebody gave up on your life or in your life? What about other people who are dependent on your patience? Do you know you have people that you can influence or change your life if only you extended some grace? If only you are a little bit more generous with your patience. The other thing about generosity is your experience. Experience cannot be learned in school. Experience cannot be taught. You can only live through a life situation to acquire knowledge, to acquire wisdom. And it is very, very important that you share that experience with someone else. It cannot be quantified. You cannot put a price to wisdom that has been given. For example, you've lived long enough to see what happens in certain situations or in certain dynamics. Imagine if you helped somebody who is where you were 10, 20, 30 years ago. Do you know the embarrassment you receive that person? The energy, or even help that person not make mistakes. Unfortunately, we have people who are quick to say, I paid the price. You pay your price. As a Christian, I think about Jesus Christ's ultimate price. He died for my sins. Even when I was not born, He gave His life for me, so that ultimately I may be reconciled with God and inherit what my first parents messed up. He sacrificed. Maybe He could say in heaven, let them suffer as I did, let them get the pain, let them get the full penalty of death. But He went and did that. By the way, it's God who loved the world so much that He gave His only Son. That was going all the way out. And if you are Christ's disciples, we need to learn from Him that as classic people, people who stand out, we need to forego certain things on behalf of other people. We become generous. That I can suffer so that my family or other people don't have to go through the same path that I have gone through. Generous people sympathize with those who are hurting. They empathize with them. You put yourself in the shoes of others. In other words, you get out of your comfort zone and suffer with your friends or with your colleagues, even with a stranger. In other words, generous means you go beyond the expected. You give in plenty. You have in abundance what has been given you by God. And you know where it all begins? When you realize that somebody has been generous to your life, somebody went out of his way or her way to make you who you are. When you realize that, you'll have no reason, no excuse, not extending the same to your friend, to your neighbor, for that matter. Are you generous? Are you mean with your life? Do you hold things to yourself? The good book tells us that all the things we have here on earth will come to perish. When you close your eyes and you have no more breath, the things you hold to will be shared, will be enjoyed by people who come after you. And you have no control over them. And maybe when you're in heaven, I don't know whether they allow people to see down here. You don't want to bite your fingers and wonder, why? What if I shared? What if I was generous? Somebody's life was cut short because they lacked what you had. You had the money that could have helped your cousin, your neighbor, or a fellow believer. You had the potential, you had the capability, and then you miss the opportunity. Why let other people suffer when you know you can chip in, you can help? Be generous. Be generous and give way for others. Do you know the person who gives becomes more blessed than the one who receives? I know that sometimes it's hard to imagine. But the peace one gets, the contentment, the accomplishment you get in your heart is invaluable. Just to sleep knowing you went an extra mile. You touched a soul. Yes, you may have missed some leisure moment. You may have delayed what is pleasurable to you. You may have missed your good time. But you know you can always have more other times because you have the potential, of a capability of doing that tomorrow, even if you don't do today. But for that moment, you become generous for other people. Think about people who've given ultimate life for us. In a country, people who signed to become our defenders. When we are having it plenty here, we go about doing our business. There are people who are protecting you as a nation. They go out there in the field to fight the enemy. They risk their life for you. They go beyond what is expected, even to a point of giving their life for the love and for the service of their country. And who is a country? It's you and me. These people are over generous, even with their lives. What about our parents who deny themselves sleep and comfort to work so hard so that we could not miss school or miss a chance in life? These were generous people. A generous person doesn't necessarily look what they're going to gain after giving. They do it because they do it from a clear heart. They have a willing spirit. They're not coerced to do things. And what they give is from their heart. And they don't wait for you to come and pat them on their shoulder. They do it because it's part of their DNA. They do what is right and they move on because they are generous. Their heart is pure. Their heart is generous. They don't force it. You don't have to talk them into it. They know nothing but giving. And you know what? Even though they don't consciously wait to be rewarded, they will surely be rewarded. And they will still come back to them. This past week, or rather this week, a friend of mine called from Nairobi. connecting me with somebody he would want me to help, for him to come and do several things. But even though we are skeptical about people that we invite because we don't know what they would do, but because of this friend who was so generous to us as a community, he went out of his way, donated lots of things in all manners, connection, network, all manner of ways. And this is what I told him. Mr. XYZ, you know, you don't know, but I will let you know what the scripture says. Cast your bread onto the water, and you'll find it someday. I said the book of Ecclesiastes doesn't lie, and that is true. And I told him, for many, many times, and for many, many, many times, and the years you've lived with us here in Atlanta, I cannot thank you enough for your generosity. Because what you did for us as a community, you didn't have to. You did it from your heart, from your generous heart. And because of that, that spirit that you have has come to yield fruit to a point where if you refer somebody to me, I trust your judgment, and I know you have entrusted that person to us, and that person will not disappoint. I trust you because of your generous heart, of what you did many years ago. You may not remember. And he was like, oh, really, Bishop? Oh, my goodness. That humbles me. He's not even aware. He did it because that was his routine. He had a generous heart. And you see how he come back? He just said, yes, come. Recently, I went to Boston for a seminar. And this lady and the mother came looking for me. They were not actually not coming to the seminar, but they heard that I was there and I was part of the organization. I don't know how they got the wind that I was there. She beckoned me out of the meeting, called me on the side. I was full of excitement about her life. Oh, I heard you are here. I'm so happy, and I got something for you. And she did what she did. No sooner had I gone back to the room than I saw the mother come. And again, they were together. And the mother went into her, not wallet, but her, whatever it was, and she poured her love in whichever way she did. And the mother didn't know what the daughter had done just a minute ago. I was there wondering, why are they so nice to me? Why would you come, bother to come drive just to know that I'm in your state and show this love? A quick thing was, you don't know what you mean in our lives and how you impacted. When they had gone, I tried to trace what is it that I did, because I'm not there to keep records, but I knew there must have been something. Either I was generous with the time or advice. I don't know what it was, but there must have been something. You see, my friend, I'm saying that with a lot of humility. It comes back. A generous heart will always be remembered. And you will always get payback times. So you want to stand out? You want to be classy? Have a generous heart. A generous heart that is willing to do exceedingly more than is expected. And I want to tell you, you will not regret. So I conclude by telling you this. If an opportunity comes, seize it. Don't lose an opportunity to do something to somebody, whenever and wherever. Because a generous heart can change, can transform, can impact someone's life. And it doesn't have to be money. I said generous could be generous with the time, generous in listening, generous in patience, generous in information. Be a generous person. Assess yourself and discover the many things you would be. I'll give you a little example of a girl who got in trouble with her mom. She was sent to the store, and as she walked, she took a little bit longer. And the mother reprimanded her and said, "Where did you go? Why have you taken this long?" And the little girl said, "Mom, on my way to the store, I found my friend with a broken doll, and she was crying. Her dolly was broken, and say, when did you become a fixture of a doll? And she said, I didn't fix it. I just stayed with my friend and helped my friend cry. The little girl was just generous with her time. She didn't say a word. She just went there, hugged her, and helped her cry, and offered a crying shoulder. So she was generous with time and with emotions. And that healed the hurt of her friend. Will you please go out of your way and be generous to somebody? Sometimes it may not cost anything. It's just a bold step. It's just a choice. Generous people are classy, or classy people are generous. God bless you, and stay blessed. Be generous. Thank you.